An Improvement to the Times by Joseph Scaliger, Book 1, Chapter 2, The Days. Nyktimeron, which is a space of 24 hours, Daniel elegantly calls erek, which is to say, opse pruion, the beginning of the day using the civil language of the time, which is just after the setting sun. For this interval being 24 hours is natural, with the civil code starting the day in Attica and Judea with the setting sun, with the middle of the night for the Egyptians and the Romans. The Chaldeans used the rising of the sun, the noon shadow used by others. The notion of the days is duplicitous according to its number and order, that is, the first, second, or third of a month, or its second, eponymia, which day is named for a Persian day of the month of the ancient kings. The Mexican days of the month are named after animals or other things, and the Egyptian epagomenia were each named after their gods and festival days. The Kinkartis, Chronia, Thargelia, the festival of Kurnus, and the days of the week from events. Aliensis Day, Regifugium, from stars. The Roman Church named weekdays and began their ancient ecclesiastical years on Easter. Easter was called New Year and still is today in the Antioch Church. From Constantinople, however, Dikaniismos Hebdomadus, from the same mind, now that Hebdomadus is a festival every 7 days as testified by Jerome and other ancients. Here we have the remaining days of the Hebdomadion being called weekdays, specifically the first 7 being the auspicious and ominous Passover. Solon was the first to call it Trichiada inin ke nian, with before any being the first month. Hesiod, proton inin tetres te ke endomen hieron nimar. The division was from the daily routine, in what's allowed, not allowed, what's hidden, what's religious, what's divided, what's just. The Greeks would say, is energos ke ergos, or that other, ėxαιρεσίμους nimera ke apophradas ke iotasimos, or from the year's equations of time, solar and lunar. In prothesias nimera ἐπακτάς, ἐξαιρεσίμους, ὑπερβάτους, embolismus, ἐπαγομένας, περιττάς. Προσθετάς ἡμέρα. The Greek computers say that the Latin regulars, who were concurrent, that is, the intercalary solar day was composed with characteristics of the first day or another day of the month. ἐπακτές, there are 2 kinds, solar and lunar. The solar is cast from the 7s in the solar cycle, adding the additional leap days. The lunar is produced by completing 11 days before the solar, and countless golden guides abandon 30. In addition, there are 2 methods of intercalary days, the solar from the characteristics of the day and the lunar from the phases of the moon. So the Latin computers declare, the Greeks, however, is postieos selenis, ἐξαιρεσίμοι, are exempt from the month for 2 reasons. When the solar and lunar cycles are congruent, for example in the year of the ancient Greeks, in enia decoride pascha soltes lunae, as said in Latin, in Greek, hypotomi selenis, or the customary week-long festival as in the Jewish year, hyperthetion, or hypervaton, are things that are translated for religious reasons and disseminated with specific understandings, such as the Jewish year, and once from the ancient Romans. In Judea, the hyperthesias, and in understanding the institution, no festivals are held at the beginning of the 2nd, 4th, and 6th years. The ancient Romans understood nundiae as a way to remove the religious day. The author Macrobus. Εμβολίμων is a word whose notion declares an institution of the days, be it either natural or civil. In the natural, whose remainders of minutes and hours are gathered, and every 4 years, 1 more day is added for the extra quarter day in the Julian year, which is called a leap year. Again, in the Arabic periods, 11 days are interjected at the end of Dhul Hajji, which is the last month of the Hijri Muslim year. The civil, in relation to the natural, is beside it in its measure, inserted the days at the end of the month of Marshevan in the Jewish year, which is called superfluous and abundant. Epagomenia, which fills up the extra spaces in the seasons of the year, are inserted. These 5 are added to the year with the rules from the method of the Egyptians, casting them in the months of Nissi, the Persians and Armenians in Muscarada, and both, whose extra measure in the Attican year in the time Poseidon suspended. Anarchy Nimeri, it said, or Hypervelusia, or Archaresia. But the location of Peritai Nimera has mobility in the year. However, it is with the interval between the epochal and the start of the year, with both ends excluded. They always stand together in the year, whose anticipated beginnings is never the same as the epochal. The year in Attica starts with the festival of Hecatombion, and in the ancient epoch was never placed before the summer solstice. Therefore, between the solstice and the proposed Hecatombion festival is interposed space. Both ends are excluded. The saying is Peritai Numeri. The same was observed by the great Metonic and Calippic years. Again, the Roman sacred days were Calendae, the Nones, the Idas, but the Greeks, Ini, Tetres, Evdomi. That from Hesiod's verse we adduce the facts. There are, moreover, named single days imposed on the month in the reported places. In between them and the following weeks they are subdued. The table of the days of the week of Persia, of alternate Persian, the Turkish weekdays, and according to the planets. But why do the days named after planets not follow the order of the sidereal position in which they were named? Namely, why does Sunday follow after Saturday instead of Thursday, the day of Jupiter? And the reason follows. The 7 planets are arranged in a circle with their order equally distributed by the 7 isosceles triangles whose bases are the sides of the inscribed heptagon. What is proposed in the circle is that following the periphery of the 7 by the isosceles triangles Saturn, Venus, Jupiter, Jupiter, Mercury, Mars, Mars, Moon, Sun, Sun, Saturn, Venus, Venus, Jupiter, Mercury, Mercury, Mars, Moon, Moon, Sun, Saturn. The angle at the right of the base of the triangle is the first star of the triangle. The second is opposite at the top, and the third angle at the left base. So when all of the stars are on the right vertex, they are opposite the stars at its top vertex. However, the star at the lower left vertex is the opposite of the top vertex star. Therefore, they all follow through the 7 planets not between their attacks, but through their interval reported, which are their opposites. The triangle, Sun, Moon, Mars, is the first order. The Sun stands in opposition of the Moon, and will go right to the top, which is opposite of Mars, being at the left vertex of the triangle containing Mars. Sun, Moon, Mars. While in the triangle, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter occupies the right corner, which is in opposition to Mercury. Mercury, therefore, in opposition to Jupiter in the left corner, which is also the right corner of the triangle, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, where Mars is at the top vertex, which is opposed to Saturn in the left vertex. But again it returns to the right vertex of the triangle Saturn, Sun, Moon. Thus the 7 planets are traveled in as many days, which the Roman Church called weekdays. This is the reason for these terms.